If I tell you from the start, it's gonna be long, but I was actually coming to UG to do law, and it didn't work out as planned, but I always wanted to have a taste of journalism, basically.
I found out that communication didn't have accounting, so that's one of the reasons I chose that.
I had applied for an international relations degree, and someone talked me out of it and advised me to do communications.
I always knew that communications is what I wanted to do. Initially, I wanted to do journalism when I started.
I enrolled at the University of Guyana, particularly communication studies, because I wanted to be a journalist at the time.
I am a teacher, and it was my desire to complete that program and teach communication studies.
Communication was not my first option. However, after waiting on my first option, communication would have chosen me first.
I had applied for communication study, sociology, and international relation. And at the time, I wanted to do something more of public speaking.
I started communication studies because I wanted it to be a foundation for my career.
I was an active member of the media, and I was looking for a program at the University of Guyana that will boost the career that I was in at the time.
I was just scrolling through programs and I came across that program, and that ended up being my first option.
I enrolled at the Communication Studies department because it seemed like the most interesting program.
I was failing at my first program at the university. It was something very much outside of my field, and I decided to play towards my strengths.
When I first started communications, my only friends within the class were the two individuals that I came with from my secondary school.
I remember my first class. I went to the class and I saw a few students from my secondary school, so it was easy to connect.
We found that in our first and second year, we had some divisions in our class where we had the older students and the younger students. But for some reason, I always found myself to always associate myself with both of the group.
I joined with a friend from high school. So we went from first form straight to fifth, and now, bam, we at UG together.
I always find it easy to connect with my colleagues and peers anywhere I go.
It wasn't easy for the fact that we would have done our diploma in 2012 to 2014. So when we graduated, we both took a break.
When I came to class, a number of persons had already known me from being on television, so it was easy to connect with those persons.
You're in a new environment and you had to adapt because it's new people, a new setting and everything. But for me, it wasn't that hard, it's just that it took some time.
I found it very easy to connect with my classmates at first. I came with an open mind, knowing that I'll be meeting new people.
Well, I started with one of my best friends, so it was her and I from the beginning, and then started to make friends with other classmates as well, and it was very easy.
I did not find it easy to connect with my classmates because I usually keep to myself.
I am not a very social person. I'm very much introverted, so initially I didn't connect with anyone for like the entire first year.
Being an introvert, I was kind of like the odd one out at first, but as I got to know person, it became easy connecting to them.
For me, the classes that had a lot of vibe in those 2 years was SC Boom, Sir SC Boom, and Mr. Sobers. I mean, every class was an experience.
Advanced radio production. That classroom was on fire. Every time we were on fire, we had lots of interaction. Every day we have lots of debate.
It was in second year when we had to do a presentation, and we did it in form of a skit. And we had to just dress up in different costumes and play roles and stuff like that.
I put together a poem while the two skits were performing, and then I performed the poem after. And our group got 9.5 out of 10, so that was my most memorable moment.
In my first year, where I presented a song.
We were doing uncertainty reduction theory. So I think doing that was one of my most memorable classroom moments.
IMC exhibition where we had to create a product and market the product.
The famous cinematographer, Mr. Yafet Jackman. And this is where my colleagues and I shared our opinion and thoughts about different stuff as it relates to cinematography and videography.
On Research Seminar Day, because it wasn't just about the making of your name on the graduation list. It was a memory that I will always take with me, mostly because on that day everyone just supported each other. There was just this lightheartedness and positivity.
I remember one student, Shakil, had his group and the entire class waiting because of what we call the antenna computer. His computer totally freaked out and he had his binding clip that he tried to use to get the computer. That was funny.
Being a student parent in my final year, battling with my pregnancy as a first-time mother.
I took a break my first semester, and so I was forced to pull all my courses within my final year just so I could graduate with the rest of my class.
When I had to take some time off, because that wasn't a part of the plan, and it was, really difficult trying to figure out what's next.
I had to learn how to balance work and UG, as well as the heavy projects, research. For some reason, I chose a research on UG and my sample size was 100 and something students.
I was doing shifts and I was tired after work. Sometimes I would get off in the afternoons, in the mornings. It was crazy, and I found myself distracted sometimes in class.
Research was very challenging for me, being that I was working at that time.
During the period of my final year, research paper.
Yes. Oh yes, many times.
From the inception.
Every semester, and in my final semester, every week.
Throughout my time at UG, especially final year.
Definitely had some doubts in those moments.
I definitely felt sometimes that can pull through.
There were some times, yes, when I felt as though I don't know if I would be able to complete a certain assignment because there was so much pressure.
The most challenging for me was the research in final year, but that still didn't made me doubt myself or doubted my abilities to complete the program.
Of course not. It had to be done.
Never there wasn't.
I never thought that I would give up. At one point in time, I just thought that I would graduate with bad grades.
The lecturers, they were always encouraging. Every time I wanted to quit, I had a student, sometimes I prayed, and every step along the way, there was someone there. God sent someone there to help me along.
Seeing everyone else fighting and trying to do their best as it relates to the different projects. Everyone was going through a hard time during the final year, and I guess just seeing everyone, trying their best motivated me to not give up.
Let me put it this way. There was Urfia, Shamar, Sasha, Rudolph, Acacia, Isanella. All these people were there.
Well, my parents are my greatest motivators.
Every time I felt as though I couldn't do something, I would just basically pray about it.
I have a son, so I need to spend time with him because for the last 4 years, he has pretty much been not benefiting from me being at home during evenings, during the week when you have to come to class.
My motivation was my goal. My ultimate goal was to graduate with my degree.
What I do is a passion of mine, so that's what kept me going.
The career path that I'm actually trying to head down, and my current job is not where I want to stay at, and I'm looking forward for upward mobility in my life.
I have to say, that cool face with the shade.
I'll use that straight face.
That laughing emoji that has a little sweat coming down the side.
Tongue out emoji.
It's a mare or blur, whichever emojis that.
The emoji with the tongue out and the tongue out like the
The leaf emoji is what considered shade emoji, right? Breeze. The class shade, bad, what?
the emoji that symbolizes the home, mostly because I always felt as though CCS was a second home to me, and it was just welcoming.
The heart emoji, because the staff members here are welcoming and loving and friendly, and they always find a way to help their students.
My IMC product, service I should say, because I did a service for the Integrated Marketing Communication course.
Article that I wrote on Corilla.
All of the stuff that I did for my IMC project.
My television production film.
My IMC idea.
I would like to think that most of my group work that I've been involved in would have been some of the best produced work by us.
Group project that we did in second year for Miss Hamilton.
I believe it's my final year project that I did at Madonna's Kids Craft.
Time management, because time management plays an integral role in everything you do.
To embrace your ethics above all and to not compromise in any way.
Know what you want in terms of how you approach a course. You see, if you approach a course negatively, which I've done a number of times, then the result would be negative.
You have the ability to do what you need to do or what you're required to do.
Nothing is impossible.
So continue striving, like even when situations get hard.
Your friends or people that you associate yourself with is a key and major thing.
Be objective, because in certain situations we tend to get biased and emotional, and that doesn't add to resolving a problem.
The degree in communications is so versatile. I would say next I would like to go into the area research.
Being that I'm within the teaching profession, I hope that my communication skills can help me within the education field.
I've already applied at the University of Guyana again. I'll be returning in September.
I hear there's the master's program coming and I'm looking forward to it.
Basically, I see myself as an academic. I don't see myself stopping.
Start my own business, do some production work.
Maybe make some short films.
I particularly like the fields of arts and culture and science and education. So I think that I would fit in very nicely working in those particular fields.
I'm just going to do my part in repaying my country by serving the time designated for my scholarship, and then I'll go on to pursue whatever passion I desire.
I started sending out applications, so let's see how that goes. I'm looking for a job currently.